Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Type in the chat. We've got George, Zach, Vladdy, Michael, Nash, Julie, David. Welcome, welcome. Can you guys see me? Hear me? All good. Fantastic. Let me just get set up here. We're going to wait a couple minutes for some folks to join. Hey, Wendy, what's going on? Tom, Julie, Sheila. Sheila, I'm so glad you made it here. I know you were having some technical problems. I am so happy you're here. All right, let's just get situated here. So if you click on the chat, why don't you type in, absolutely, Sheila, type in the chat where you're coming in from. We've got a great group of genius CEOs. Like, this room is filled with genius right now, and I am honored to have you guys here. Wendy, Tom, Sheila, David, Julie, Nash, Michael, Vladdy, Zach, George, welcome. Type in the chat where you're coming in from and what business you're in, just so we can get acquainted. Feel free to type anything else in the chat. Just getting situated here. We've got so much ground to cover, but I really want to make this worthwhile for you. So we're going to start in just a couple of minutes. To see you. You look great. Just kidding. I can't see you, Paul, but you look great. I'm sure you do. Um, we've got David, Julie, Nash, Vladdy, Zach, and George. So, like, on my screen, I'm just sharing some stuff that I created with GPT. It's unbelievable. Have you guys been playing with the graphics mode? Like, look at this, some of these graphics that GPT made, like an infograph. Just so beautiful. I made this middle one like in the style of Victorian era Wild West. It's just so cool, so interesting. So type in the chat where you're coming in from. What's your business? We got Sheila, PEO, ASO, and HR. I love the acronyms, but for folks that don't know what those acronyms mean, just type in the chat what that means. Wendy is in New York City. You rock. I'm in New York City as well. Welcome. Sheila's Atlanta. Zach, Rockford, Illinois. Type in the chat what business. You guys are CEOs, chief leaders, chief honchos. I don't know if I like the word chief, because chief means like Indian chief. I don't know where that comes from, but like, you guys are the heads of business. You guys are bringing innovative products to your customers. I am so honored to be here with you guys. So type in the chat what business you're in. Julie's in Long Island. Awesome. Um, awesome. Awesome. So we are going to get into today really these 3 shifts. Actually, I've turned them into 5 shifts that every CEO must make to align their AIs that they're creating with sales and marketing without hiring a $250,000 chief marketing officer who you will likely fire them in 13 months. And we're going to jump into that. So thank you for writing out those acronyms for us, Sheila. Welcome. This is a live conversation. This is totally live, and I'm going to be real with you. I am going to be really totally honest with you, and I want you to get a huge, huge value out of this discussion. This is my time. I have like office hours once a month, as it were, and this is your time. So this is your time to work on your business. So get out a piece of paper if you want, and a pen, and we're going to jump into some things you're going to experience today. It's actually going to be an experience today that will require an open mind. And you're going to probably want to take notes. These are the 3 shifts every CEO must make to align AI, sales, and marketing without hiring a $250,000 CMO who you'll likely fire. And you'll likely fire them after you spend a lot of money. I hope you didn't spend too much money on your website only to realize that you're not getting the sales that you deserve. So has this happened to you? Give me a 1 in the chat if you've spent a lot of money on building out your website and marketing it so it's really pretty, really nice looking, but it's not actually moving the needle in sales. Just give me a 1 in the chat. Yep. I feel you, and I'm so glad you're here because we're going to go through these 5 shifts that you need to make to turn this around. And the world has changed, everybody, and you know it has. AI has changed the world. You're looking at here on the screen an AI podcast. I showed you earlier on the screen some amazing AI generated graphics. So, a couple scary questions to hit this off. So, the LLMs searching your website right now, do they really understand your value? Or will they confuse your unique offering with solutions that are nothing like yours? So, what do you think? Yes or no in the chat? What do you think? Do you think the LLMs may confuse what you're selling, the value, and how you're different with solutions that are nothing like yours? Yes, maybe, no. Type in the chat. So, we're going to be talking about aligning AI and how to use AI today. But more fundamentally, if you go to ChatGPT now, right now, and you ask, who should I trust to help solve X problem? And the problems you know very well in your industry, or the problems that you're helping your customers solve, what would your business come up? And we're talking now about how people are using AI to solve problems, to collaborate with in their business, in their organization. So SEO is dead. Let's move on from that. But we're going to be talking about AI today, but in the context of your story and your pitch. So AI aside, you guys are here likely because your marketing has a fatal flaw. And we're going to be talking today about how to turn that around because AI doesn't know your story and can't tell your story unless you teach it. But how? And we're going to talk about that today. So if you're positioned the wrong way, your AI integrated whatever is going to fail. And that's the quick message from the start. And I don't know if you type in the chat, give me a 1 in the chat if you've seen copy written that just smells like AI. Just type in a 1 in the chat. If the copy you've seen, design you've seen smells like AI, it's like, you know what? That just doesn't feel like they wrote it. So we're going to talk about how to fix that, and there's a way to fix it to make it not only human sounding, but your brand sounding. And it's like everyone today has hired the same designer and copywriter because they don't know how to use AI in the right way. But you guys are when you go through these 5 shifts. It says 3 on my screen, but there's 5 shifts that we're going to go through. We're going to go through 3 quick, in depth, but we're going to rush over the last 2. And if you want to get through the last 2, you can click on the offer link and you can book some time with us. So we've got Jordan, Ben, Carrie, Ken, Paul, Wendy, and I am really excited to have you here because it's about 2 things. It's about nailing your frame, your messaging. What is your offer? Who do you sell it to? What's the next industry shift that you are capitalizing on because your solution really helps people there? And how you should be using AI to 25x growth. And I'm using 25x because that's what I'm seeing. And then the other thing is like creating a 100% on-brand content machine that you could use, your whole business could use, that's going to slash your costs by at least 50% on marketing. But more importantly, it's going to use the right messaging. We're going to be talking later about a 3-month sprint, and also later about an accountability guarantee that we're piloting now. And we're actually guaranteeing to double your win rate, lower half your copy costs, and half time saved creating content. This is actually a guarantee we're experimenting with because that's what our customers are seeing, and we're going to be talking about that later. I'm also offering a AI for founders and teams workshop, and you can go to pitchkitchen.com and see that on the website, and I'll share with you the link to book your custom workshop if you like as well. All right, so we're going to get started. Hey, Jordan, what's going on? Great to see you, dude. You guys look beautiful. You look beautiful, Jordan. And it's really the combination. It's not just AI, because AI without being trained and taught is just going to be like bad. And, the reality is even without AI, marketers have let you down. Like the reality of so many people that spend $250,000 or more on marketing staff or a CMO. They spent a year, doing a website project, a PPC ad campaign, lots of rebranding, and they're fired month 13. This is like the norm, by the way. like it happens, because they're playing by old playbooks and they're not using problem-centric messaging. And we're going to be talking about that in the second shift. So I'm hoping that this year you can actually get to a place in 2025 where 100% on-brand copywriting happens at zero cost, or just a few bucks. When I say a few bucks, it's like API credits of a trained GPT. And I believe in 2025, everybody in your team should be using a private custom GPT trained on your story. And you guys should be doing that. And I'm going to be talking about how you can do it. So if we cover today some stuff that sparks in you uh, some resonance and you want to get some help in your business, there's a way to do that. You can click on the offer side on your screen and you can book some time. I'm seeing every other day thousands of dollars worth of billable marketing work that can be and is being reduced to just a few dollars in AI credits. But it needs to be pre-trained on your story. Getting you and your team using AI, this is a thing. Getting you and your team using AI in the right way so you can grow is a thing, and that's why we offer those workshops. But it really can just mean you need to use it and experiment. The gap is widening. This is a quick diagram of what happens if you're not using AI by 2026. And I think at a certain point, businesses that aren't using AI won't be in business. So that's how I see things. So I'm Greg Rosner, the CEO of PitchKitchen, and we're an AI integrated sales and marketing enablement firm. And why are we AI integrated? Because our clients need to be, and that's how we help you be integrated. The fundamental piece, though, is the story. If you don't have the right story, no matter what AIs you throw at it, it's not going to work. So your story is your strategy. And this is why AI will fail unless you train it in the right way. We're going to talk about this in 3 shifts. Transform your story, transform your business. All right. So I'm going to breeze through this pretty fast. I want to honor you for taking time to work on your business. I'm going to challenge you. I know that the hype marketing that you have been doing and the marketers that you probably hire today to do hype marketing doesn't work. You probably have been disappointed by the marketing you're getting out of your marketer. If so, give me a 1 in the chat. If you have been a little bit disappointed by the marketing that you're getting out of your marketer, we're going to talk about why that's happening. Have you also been disappointed the marketing you're getting out of ChatGPT? There are 3 layers to AI, and the reason why you're disappointed is because you're using that first layer and you're not giving it the context that it needs to give you great results. We're going to be talking about that it's not the prompt, it's not prompt engineering, it's about training and framing. That really is the key. If we have time, and this is what we do in the AI workshop for founders and teams, is we go through the craft framework. We're going to talk, if we have time today, to go through this framework. It is a prompting framework, but it really gives AI the context it needs to collaborate and co-create what you need. But we're going to be talking about deep training of the AIs once a whole bunch of questions are answered. All right, so let me ask you this question here. What do you think is more important? Type in the chat. Is it your product or is it your message? What is more important? Type in the chat. So like, product is important. You got to have a good mousetrap for sure. You need a great product. But if your message isn't clear or isn't cutting through the noise in your industry, I see Michael, Vladi, Wendy, Ken are all on message. I agree with you, because I believe that what's standing in the way of your ideal customers just jumping on board and it being a no-brainer for them is your message. So don't tolerate being embarrassed by your website anymore. We're going to talk today about a framework that you need to use on your website that converts better, much better. You're not years away from dominating your market. I like to say you're just a narrative shift away. And we are going to get into these 5 shifts. The 5th shift is only going to work, though, I would say, if the first 4 are nailed. If you nail the first four, then the fifth shift is an easy peasy one. And that's when you're putting the AI on there. We're going to talk about that. So I'm an AI educator and integrator, and I run PitchKitchen, an AI integrated sales and marketing agency with 90-day sprints. I have personally trained about 113. I keep on updating this number. In fact, it's 114. This morning, I did another one of trained AIs for public and private companies. And that number is way low, but I see eliminating several $1,000,000 in marketing spend, but more importantly, saving hundreds, if not thousands of hours that teams are spending on writing stuff, everything from responding to an RFP or writing emails. That's a collaborator because it knows everything about your story and your brand and helps you write it really succinctly. And that's amazing stuff that we're seeing. I've come from the sales side of things. So I'm not a marketer by trade. I'm really a seller. I'm trained in selling, from customer-centric selling and gap selling. And what I saw, and the reason why I started Pitch Kitchen is because so much of marketing sucks. I mean, marketing that I see and that you see out there is all like pitch marketing and solution-centric marketing, and it doesn't work anymore. I found something that does work, and that I've been applying that to thousands of websites, and our customers have earned hundreds of millions of dollars with the frameworks that we've helped them with. And I wrote a book. Got to write a book. Got to get it done. I got it done. You can find it on Amazon. It's called Storycraft for Disruptors. I'm getting some great feedback from it. You can definitely buy the book, and in the book there are these 5 shifts as well. You can do everything here yourself, or you can drink from the fire hose here today. All right, so I have had the privilege of working with a lot of great CEOs like yourself and really helping them from an outsider's approach get to the heart of what they're selling, who they're selling it to, what problem they're solving. Because once you can nail those messages and train the GPTs on that, it makes life so much easier and really just helps your business thrive. So let's get to work. Let's get to work here. These are actually a couple examples. I'm going to just pass through that. So the ground rules, this is not for spectators. I don't have you on camera here. You're not on vocal, but do please use the chat. That's, my ask of you. I need that energy. It's the only energy that I get because I don't have you here on camera. So in the chat, if you're down to type in the chat, just give me a heck yes, like you are here to participate. Number 2, I am going to challenge you. I am going to say to you things that you are going to make you not able to look at your homepage or your website ever again the same way. So it is going to be challenging, but that's why we're here together. That's why you're here. So I've got giveaways at the end here for everyone that gets to this. I'm going to show you this 16-part magnetic messaging framework. You're going to download that, and it's going to be a framework for you to, like a checklist, to make sure that you're hitting the right notes on your website. Because if you think about it, your ideal customer that hears about you through word of mouth, even, there's like 9 seconds that they have to come to your website and understand what do you do, who do you sell to? Do you sell to people like us? What problem do you solve? Do you even understand what our freaking problem is? What do you want me to do at the end of this? So all of that has to be answered quickly. And this structure is what we're using and applying, and it works to get people to convert. I'll also be giving out the 12 sales conversations. So if you build sales presentations, if you miss one of these conversations in your sales decks, you will lose the sale. And I'll pretty much guarantee that. So there's 12 of them. And you don't need to have them in every sales conversation, but it's like a base that needs to be hit. We're also going to give away a free GPT that I built that is based on the magnetic messaging framework that we built, and scores your website in contrast to that framework. And I'll show you this there at the end. This is the magnetic messaging framework as it applies to your website. And there's the book. And actually, I think I'm going to give away to you guys a free copy at the end of the book, a PDF copy, so you don't have to buy it. I don't really make much money on Amazon anyway. I don't really care. I want you guys to have the book and use the insights in the book. So I'm going to give you that copy. So my promise, it's going to be put on audio shortly. I'm using some AI for that, but thank you, Mark. I will not pitch you. This is not a pitch session. And even if you book a session with me, I'm not going to pitch you. It's really all about clarity, giving you clarity. At the end, I will be offering you guys to book a AI integrated sales and marketing enablement session. And if you are a fit, we'll talk about that. Does that sound fair to you? That's what I've got. That's all I've got for you. That's the structure of this setup. So give me a yes or no in the chat if that sounds fair or does not sound fair to you. All right, we've got a sounds good from Paul. You're funny, Ken. Is that it? So thumbs up and big heart from you, Ken. So it sounds like that's a lot, and that's a promise. I'm gonna give that to you. So I'll say who this is not for. This is not for CEOs. For those who are not the owners of the business, this is not for businesses that don't sell an innovative product. So if you're just selling another screwdriver, then no, this is not for you. This is not for businesses that don't already have successful customers. So if you don't have a successful customer, I would say you don't have to be here right now. Just bow out of this masterclass right now, because I need to know this formula works only if you've got something that people want. So this is not for CEOs not committed to helping their customers thrive. So I don't want to work with people that are in businesses looking for a quick buck and trying to get over on their customers. This is for CEOs that are committed to helping their customers thrive. And 5, businesses that have grown. If you've grown a shit ton from last year, you don't have to be here, because this is for businesses that are growing slower than they'd like. And if this also is not for businesses that do not require, wait a minute, it's not for products or services that don't require prospects to change. So if it doesn't require your customer, when they buy your solution or work with you, does it require them to change in some way the way that they're working? If it doesn't require change, this is not for you. All right, so lastly, it's not for folks that don't want to or can't invest time and money into the business, because this does take a little bit of that. So my promise to you in the next 45 minutes, if you're still here, and if this is you, then that means this is you. That's great. Mark, Jordan, Ken, Paul, Sheila, Wendy. This is my promise to you. In the next 45 minutes, how to nail your sales message, how to turn your homepage into a home run for perfect buyers, why it's game over for most marketing playbooks and what you need to do instead, how to attract ideal customers into buying conversations into your sales team, lead your category as a category of one. That's a number 1 here. I got like these heart things and 1 things and other like things I'm experimenting with. There's a phone. Anyway, the last thing is how to get AI to create 100% on-brand content without hallucinations, a content machine for everybody on your team. And that's the piece that is just unbelievable when we see it work. People love that kind of collaboration. So I'm excited to share that with you. All right, ready. Sheila's ready. Okay, Yoda. Yes. Do I look like Yoda? I know I'm old, but I mean, Mark, come on. Really? You got to like harp on my oldness? All right. So, but first, is this you? Let's just go through this. Like, I want to make sure, like, is this you? Are you experiencing these things? You've got a really great solution. Customers love what you've got, but you're spending a lot of time, your team's spending a lot of time working so hard explaining why they should care. It should be a no-brainer, but it's a brainer. You've got a marketer marketing, but it isn't turning into sales. You've asked GPT to write you stuff, but it was rubbish. A lot of your demos, your meetings are ending in no sales, even 6 months later. If this is you, or just give me a 1 in the chat. If you're seeing win rates down, seeing any of these, just give me a 1 in the chat if you're experiencing any of this, or that you've read these books. Maybe you even read my book. But there's still a big gap between what you know in your heart about what you should be saying in the market and what is actually on your website right now. So that means that you haven't made these shifts. And we're going to be talking about it, because knowing is different than doing. All right. If you've got sales reps saying different things, or everyone's telling a different story, maybe the founder's saying a different story than your sales reps? Everyone's on a different page. Is this you? Give me a 1 in the chat. If you're spending money on website people and social media people and PPC people, graphics people, but you're missing a single, easy to tell, easy to talk about, compelling story that like a breath of like, wow, that's easy, easy peasy, that everything, like the spinal cord of your business, like think Apple, think some of these great companies that have a simple narrative of why they exist and why people love them. And not everybody loves Apple, but there are a lot of people that do. If you're missing this, all right, then you're in the right place because you haven't made these shifts yet. If you have a sales deck, and admit it, give me a 1 in the chat, that looks like this, that seems to be compensating for the fact that your homepage doesn't really tell the story, and it better, because AIs need to be trained on really good content for people using ChatGPT and asking the question to GPT, who should I trust to solve this problem in my industry? And if your website, your business is not coming up in the new world of AI search, then you got to fix this. And we're going to talk about how. If you're using language and words like this on my screen, like WTH, I put that in there, creating innovative workflow technologies that drive high. What the F is this saying? I just got to breathe on this because I see this every day. I see websites that talk about solutions that don't mean anything. If you see this, if this is happening on your homepage, we got to fix this pronto. If you've got language on your website like this, using words like most trusted or category defining or flexible and versatile or all-in-one software platform end to end, what's wrong with these words? The problem with these words are, and you can look at them, these are self-ascribed, like says who? Like this is coming from the old marketing playbook that, guess what? The ChatGPT 4.0s have been trained, that large language models have been trained to write shitty marketing content like this. Give me a 6 in the chat if you've seen shitty marketing content come out of ChatGPT using language like this. And that is the problem. All right. So clarity beats buzzwords every time, but we need to train the AIs with clarity. We're going to talk about how to do that. All right. So I don't want to go on this point any further. I got good news for you. The good news is that those are symptoms. Those are symptoms. The real problem, those aren't your real problems. The real problem is you haven't made these 5 shifts. But once you make them, once you do, you're going to have complete confidence in your marketing because it's going to be turning into sales. You're going to lead your category, like completely be the leader in the category and accelerate qualification, close more deals. Your leadership team, your salespeople, everyone will be rowing in the same direction. You'll be able to create tons, I mean, every day, like a month's worth of content in an afternoon that's 100% on brand without hallucinations and without hiring anybody. That's amazing. That's huge. And you'll be able to attract ideal prospects showing up predisposed and ready to buy. That's the power to making these 5 shifts. All right. So let's get to work here. We got a 12. So thank you, Ken. Ken, we're adding 6 and 6 together. Oh my gosh. I love you, Ken. So, all right. Number 1, you got to do this. Let's dive in. You need to lead a movement. This is the first shift. Lead a movement. What the heck am I talking about here? Lead a movement. Well, are you selling an innovation? You probably are. Type in the chat. Are you selling an innovation? What does your innovation look like? What are you selling an innovation? What does your innovation challenge? If you're selling it something that's breakthrough, what is it breaking through? I'm open. These are like rhetorical questions, but I actually want you to type in the chat, like, who is the enemy that your innovation conquers and your customers and you both have in common? It's the enemy of that story. So type in the chat. So remember Salesforce.com? You remember this like thing they did? Like, who is the enemy when Salesforce.com back in 2006? they had this rebellion against software. Do you remember that? You guys have gray hairs like me. You probably remember this. Anyone remember this? Give me a type gray hair in the chat if you remember this rebellion. So this was back when Salesforce.com was not a multi-billion dollar company, by the way, but they led a rebellion against the old way. There was like, let's go to the cloud. And that was back in 2005. So great, Michael, do nothing, but be really specific for me, Michael, because enemy is always status quo. But for your industry, look what Salesforce.com did here. They didn't just say do nothing. They said software is the enemy. You know, got to go to the cloud. So be specific here. You haven't yet made the shift, Michael. I want to really push you. All right. That's my job today. So look at HubSpot, what they did, like inbound marketing. The enemy was outbound marketing in a way, like make it inbound. So there's lots of examples of this, but essentially the old way of doing things, old way of pitching is you're making claims coming from the place of an arrogant expert, making claims of why, of we're the best, and here's why we're the best. And it's so easy to hire salespeople and for marketers to just make claims, but that doesn't work in this market. What works now is to encourage change to a better way that your product or service confers advantage to. Basically saying like Obi-Wan, the old way is dead. The old way doesn't work anymore. This is the way. So I like Chris Orlub, great sales trainer. He talks about the 5 attributes of an effective nexus. And this is what we're talking about. When you're making an effective nexus, you're leading a movement towards a new way. You're making a polarizing statement about that's bad, this is good. It's a clear binary statement, and it shakes the confidence of your prospects and customers in a good way, though. It points out like why things don't work out the way that they think it might with their methods that they've been going about for 100 years or whatever. So type in the chat here, because this is the workshop piece. This is the first shift I want you to make to lead a movement, lead a rebellion, lead an uprising. What are you rebelling against? Type in the chat. Let's get really clear now in your business. What are you rebelling against in your industry? What is the thing that's holding your customers back that your product or service is overcoming? What is that thing that they're overcoming? Type in the chat. So Vladi, enemy, accepting customer churn. I love that. So customer churn is the enemy that your product, love that, Vladi, that your product service is helping your customers overcome. I love that. So entrepreneurs must focus on one thing. I'm not sure what that means, Mark. Got to help me there. Sheila, generic solutions and poor customer solutions, giant generic solutions. I'm not sure I get what that is, but generic solutions will be specific. The more specific that you can be, the better here. This is your business now. So we're not talking about somebody else's business. So get really clear. And some of these questions will help you. So what change does your innovation require people to make? What is your polarizing statement? What are you standing for? What would your TED Talk be about that describes a world where what happens and something else doesn't happen anymore? The Challenger sale. I'm sure all of you have been indoctrinated in the Challenger sale methodology. And if you don't change how your buyer thinks, you're really dead. And I believe that. So this is leading a movement is something that you can do with your brand, your positioning, your message right there on your homepage, right there in every conversation, essentially telling your prospects what they need to stop doing. Stop it. Stop doing the old thing and start doing the new thing. And I'm getting a little riled up right now. But when I say start doing the new thing, it doesn't mean start working with us. Now, come on, people. You have to separate what you're selling from the outcomes that what your customers really want. Your customers don't give a shit about your product, your company, or your service. I know that's really harsh. I am from New York. Your customers want the outcomes that your product or service provide. Is that true or not? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Is that true? What your customers want is really not your product. They want what your product does for them. But we as CEOs, we get so, I don't know what it is. I guess I do know what it is. We fall in love with our solution. And let's just call it what it is. That's fine. But we need to transcend that. We need to really connect with our customers and help them overcome the shit that they're facing in their business by telling them what they need to stop doing and what they need to start doing. So if something is resonating in you right now, type in the chat what those, fill in the blanks, start what and stop what and start what. Type that in the chat. I'd love to see your thoughts on this. We're going to move through to the second shift. There's a lot of ground I want to cover here. And if this is resonating with you guys, and you in particularly, and you want to book some time, you're going to really work this through with me and my team, please book a time in the offer section there in this masterclass. All right. So, you can also look at it as goodbye, something, and hello to something else. So the hello to something else is the outcome that your product creates. Does that make sense? Type in the chat, makes sense. That what you're telling people to start doing, or what you're telling your customers to achieve, is not to buy your product, to sign on the dotted line, but it is to achieve the outcome that your product or service creates. Type in the chat, does this make sense to you? Yes or no, or maybe. Is there anything that you want me to clarify on this and how you need to stop pitching and you need to start leading a movement instead? Yeah. Yes, Mark. Yes, I love that. I can't think that fast. Oh my, come on. You're my on-site comedian. I love you, Ken. That's great. Stop waiting on hold forever. I love that, Sheila. Really good. So this is a publicly traded company. They're called aware.com, and they sell biometrics, but we help them create a new category called intelligent biometrics that totally separates them from any of the other biometrics companies out there selling similar biometrics products. But what they did is really smart. Not only did they create a new category, they are pinning themselves against the old way of doing things, which is digital access, password world, password hell. Who here is in password hell? I know I can't remember all my passwords. Biometrics works a whole lot better. Anyway, this is a really beautiful, elegant way to fight a rebellion, a movement against the old way. All right, so let's move here to the second shift. Before I do, I believe this, that sales, if you believe this, type in the chat. Do you believe that sales is an act of leadership? I believe that. I believe that if you're selling something to someone, your team is selling, that you're trying to help them and lead them to a better place. So it makes sense. Like, all this already, but why isn't your marketing leading a movement instead? It's because we've, honestly, let's call a spade, as my dad says, my healthy 90-year-old dad, who just recovered from a car accident, by the way. He's doing great. But call a spade, that it's really about leadership and thought leadership. And I don't encourage you to do a TED Talk, because TED Talks don't make people do anything. But if you were to do a TED Talk, you would be really encouraging people to make this change. As an example here, look at these awesome hashtags. You've seen these hashtags before. One of the hashtags on my screen made a president become a president, like got elected. So don't tell me that words don't matter. But check it out. Can you detect the rubric, the structure, the framework that all of these hashtags have in common? From hit your number, to trust your source from the Wall Street Journal, to just do it from Nike, make your day TikTok, eat with purpose, that's Chopped, find your beach, that's Corona beer, I think. Make America Great Again, we all know who that's from. But these were all, whether you love or hate the products, that doesn't matter. What matters is the structure, the framework that was winning, the winning framework that these companies, these organizations did to create a movement, to create a rebellion. Can you type in the chat if you can detect what framework was used on all of these? And this is what you need to do for your business, to create a hashtag that follows this framework. Yes, Ken, they start with a verb. There, it's about action. And if we talk about sales being an act of leadership, well, leadership means get people to get up off their butts and do something, to change. That's what has to happen. So if you agree that that if you're successful and you're selling and marketing, that essentially you're getting your prospects to change. Just give me a yes or no in the chat. Give me a yes or no in the chat. All right. Ken, Mark, we're getting a yes. So now type in the chat. I want to see more yeses if you get that. Michael, so type in the chat, what's your hashtag? And it's probably not what we've worked on so far, but give it a try. And by the way, I'm a little hopped up on coffee. My wife got this Breville coffee machine with some really high octane coffee. So if I'm like skipping over my words, just blame my wife. No, she's wonderful. I love her. All right. Jeff Aronson, real quick. He is the CEO of EquipX before he made these shifts. Confusing marketing content, pipeline really thin, letting key partners down, losing deals to no decision. This was their before website, and there's nothing wrong with the design. It's kind of pretty, but the words were meaningless. And now we're living in a world of AI. It's more important than ever. I'm about to cry. I'm so like passionate about this, because if people are talking to ChatGPT and saying, who should I trust in my industry? And poor ChatGPT can't figure the fuck out of what your business does, who it does for, why it does it. Excuse my cursing, but I am from New York. I am passionate about this. Then how could you expect customers to really appreciate the value of what you're offering? After Jeff made these shifts and his business, they tripled their revenue and 6x their pipeline in 4 months. Now, I can't promise this is going to happen to you, but I can promise a doubling doubling your win rate within 6 months after these shifts. And that is a guarantee that we offer if we're the right fit. And we can talk about that on the one-on-ones. So yeah, doubling win rate and also halving the cost you're spending on marketing. I'm going to just run through real quick right now. I think we're done. We're moving through. Is there anything I can clarify on this first shift on how you need to lead a movement? I want to jump in to that. Is there anything I can clarify? Let's look at these hashtags. Sheila, lead boldly. Oh, cool. Next level leadership. So I don't like next level leadership because that's a promised land space that's not clear what that is. I like the hashtags to have the verb in front. People first growth is a static thing. It's like an approach. I like hashtags that are more like battle cries. Like if you're coaching your kid on the soccer field, it would start with like, what's that word? Create, build, make. It's the action that we want there. Fix your indecision. Okay, so I don't know if I like the word fix. I think you got to come up with another verb there, but I think context, I need to know the context of your business, but very good work. Paul, engage or you can time with us. Trisha, her group has tripled sales because of the messaging that she's using. Behavior science technology, some really esoteric shit. I mean, what they're selling. Again, forgive me for cursing. I am really passionate about this. I am from New York, and I think you guys can handle it. They're selling really high-tech um, software that was difficult to explain. And with the new messaging that they got, they really helped achieve their goals. So I've had the privilege of working with some amazing CEOs and chief revenue officers have made these shifts. So if you're ready for shift 2, give me a heck yes or something in the chat and we'll run into shift number 2. Okay, 100%. I love you, Sheila. Big heart to Sheila. Smarter made easy. Oh, that I like that. So give some context here in the chat so we know like what that means. Because even like just do it without knowing that it's a shoe company or athletic wear, it doesn't make any sense. So you need to have some context here. All right. So shift number 2 is fall in love with the problem. Oh, let's just breathe that in. I mean, this is hard. This is hard because you guys have invested your business. You're here right now. You pay people, you pay staff, you're paying your mortgage right now because you've invested in the solution that you've created for your customers and for the market. But why can't you start with your solution? Why can't you lead with your solution? And I've got one picture for you. What do you see in this picture that is the tragic failure of leading with your solution? Type in the chat. I have a picture. This is like a picture here. What is here? that screams out to you why leading with your solution is not going to work? Type in the chat. Wow, I'm really hopped up on this coffee. I don't know what you put in this. um, okay, what's wrong with this picture here? All right, can you still hear me? Are you still there? Yeah, forest of logos, lost in all the words. Yeah. So, are you guys selling in crowded markets? Yes or no? And are you guys selling in markets that even though it's not crowded, there's no one else there that's selling exactly what you're selling? Do prospective customers often put you in a box that isn't even your freaking box? Like, and that's like so it kind of hurts. It's kind of annoying. So let's pivot now. So, do you think, yes or no in the chat? Just be honest. Do you think that you and your sales team are undervaluing the problem that your prospects are experiencing and the impact of that problem that they do nothing about? Just yes or no. Do you feel like in your gut that you're undervaluing the cost and the impact of the problem that they have that I would hope that your solution would solve? Yes or no? Maybe. Got a maybe from George. Customers confused. They have to bring clarity. So Sheila says yes. So my feeling is that most sellers, most marketers put so much emphasis on the solution, not enough emphasis on the problem. They kind of shy around it. They dance around it. But we're going to talk here about the on your website, on your homepage, you need a section that really dials in, that empathizes in the words of your ideal customers. So guess what? ChatGPT and Perplexity can really understand and connect the dots between the problem that your customers experience and what you're offering. So type in the chat, who is your ideal customer? Do you even know who the ideal customer you have is? So type in the chat, because I believe how well you understand who they are is your biggest competitive advantage. This is hard to do. It's not easy. Um, so yeah, so this is, if you start with your solution, this is why it doesn't work. Like I did a screenshot of some CEO that came to our webinar last month, and this is a screenshot of their website. I'm not going to say the name of the company because I'm shaming them too much. But like if you had this on, if you went to their website and it says who we are, and it talks about how we should be trusted and we're courageous, we're accountable, we're compassionate, we're excellent. What kind of bullshit is this? I mean, come on. Do they really think that people will believe this kind of stuff? Says who? So you can't talk about your solution in this way. You can't. You're here. You're basically in a sea of solutions and it doesn't cut through the noise. But the good news is the world needs your solution. They really do. And that's why you created your business, to make the world a better place and make your customers' lives better. But if you start with the problem and lead with the problem and fall in love with the problem, that is almost like a doctor who's a specialist, like a neurosurgeon that's a specialist in subdural hematomas. And I learned a lot about subdural hematomas because my father had a subdural hematoma when he was in this car accident. And I was blown away by the doctor that met with my dad and how well he understood the problem of a subdural hematoma. Yes, because I was blown away by how clear he understood the problem. I was like, okay, whatever you got, this is great. Just do it. And he did it. He did a procedure, and my dad is great. All right. But the confidence that I had with this neurosurgeon was with how much in love he was with understanding the problem. So if you guys are resonating with this right now, almost like having this doctor frame about your business, type in the chat doctor frame. So doctor frame, just type in that chat, because I really feel like if you can really fall in love with the problem, and you probably know the problem better than most of your customers anyway, because you created a solution to solve their problem. So type in the word doctor frame if this really resonates with you. It's actually having the frame of the doctor. So great. Thank you for that, Mark, Michael. So really making sure that you understand this. So money in organizations, when they spend money on solutions, the facts are that it follows pain. It's fact. And customers buy more when they're feeling understood when more than feeling understood than when they understand you. So just because your salesperson does a wonderful job demoing your product, does that really mean that you're going to get a sale? No. Type in the chat like no. I'm just telling you this. But if your salesperson did a wonderful job articulating and empathizing with the problem that they're having, like holy smackers, you really understand, you really get us, you really understand our organization, like wow, you like, isn't it like amazing how much a customer, a prospect would be impressed with your authority and your credibility if in your messaging, in your marketing, you've really nailed your understanding of the problem. Just give me a yes or no in the chat on that. So thank you. So talk about doctors. I believe that people are twice more likely to buy something to relieve pain than to gain something. So when you're framing what your offering is, in your positioning it in your messaging, if you frame it around a future desired state versus a fixing something that people are struggling with and frustrated with right now, you're going to have a much worse response. So this is the key, because if you're headed to the market with solution marketing, why change? Why should I change now? And why should I change with you? That doesn't work. I mean, these are the questions that solution marketing doesn't answer. Solution marketing starts with the solution and why we help companies achieve these amazing goals. But the new way to pitch and to message on your website, in your proposals, in your emails, in your LinkedIn posts, in the way your team is presenting their sales presentations, your marketing, your public relations, your proposals. I mean, everything. And that's why it's so important to nail this before you get ChatGPT to do anything, because you need to start with the problem and fall in love with the problem. And if you did that, your messaging will sound something like this. We help companies who are struggling with or frustrated with compliance, or frustrated or struggling with this. So if this is making sense to you, if this is resonating with you, give me a yes in the chat. And if you want us to help you, if you want to help getting your messaging nailed in, please book some time with us. Let's talk. No pressure, no pitch, just clarity. This is what I call the buyer's belief curve. The buyer's belief curve. On the left side, people will feel that the risk of changing is too great. On the right side, they'll feel that the risk of doing nothing is too great. And if you think about the prospects that you talk to and the people that come to your website, they're going to be at different places along this belief curve. They're going to be people you need to ignore, and that's fine. They're going to be people you need to educate, people you need to influence, and people you need to encourage, but knowing where they sit on this belief curve. But it all comes down to risk. Where do they feel like the biggest risk is? And there's a lovely quote by Anise Nin. I can't say it off the top of my head, but I think you guys know it. It's like, and then the day came when the risk of remaining tight in a bud was greater than the risk of blossoming, something like that. And I love that quote because your prospects are facing risk, and if they're okay with their current situation for another year, then wish them luck. But if through talking with them, and if through talking about the impact of this problem that they have, they're not going to do anything with that, and the cost of inaction is pretty high, they might be interested in changing. So remember, we talked about how the first shift is about leading a movement. It's about helping people change. Well, that's your job with the second shift, which is really to nail the problem, to fall in love with the problem and start with the problem. So type in the chat. This is a pop quiz. See if you've made this second shift. Maybe you need some help with it. Type in the chat. What is the problem, the number one problem that you solve? What is the problem that you solve? The number one problem. Type in the chat. All right. So let's go on to the third shift. This is Warren Johnson. He had made these shifts. Before he made the shifts, it was really rough. Good salespeople were actually leaving because they weren't being supported by a strong narrative, missing forecast, stagnant growth. They went from 137 customers to nearly 3,000 in 12 months from making this positioning shift. Manish, before he made the shift, missing targets, couldn't invest in the product without more customers, and they've grown exponentially since making these shifts. And it's hard because blind spots, outdated playbooks, and GPT that's trained on bad marketing. All right, so let's get to who you guys ready for shift number 3? And let me look in the chat here. Vladdy, retain customers, grow revenue with less employees. A successful SMB business having to shut down. Yeah. Retain customers, grow revenue with less employees. So Vladdy, I have to say that's not the problem. You know, let's just be clear, Vladdy. To retain customers is a what? It's a goal. To grow revenue with less employees is a goal. That's not a problem. And I know this is hard, it's subtle, but it's like instead of saying we help companies achieve this goal, flip that upside down. We help companies struggling with what? So, Vladdy, that's the work that you need to do. And I know, like, I don't mean to shock you, but this is actually hard to do, to step out of your shoes and put yourself in the shoes of your customer, looking at the world. What is their problem? All right. So, shift number 3, speaking about putting yourself in your customer's shoes, they're the hero of the story, not your brand or your company. They are the hero. And you know this because, I mean, yes, you are the hero in your world, but if you're selling something to somebody, that whole story is one where they are the hero. So if they're the hero, what does that make you? Type in the chat. What does that make you if your customers are the hero of the story? Alexander, Patrick, Doug, Mark, Ken, Paul, Michael, Vladdy, and Zach. Type in the chat. What does that make you? Their savior. So I would say no to that, Patrick. The savior is like kind of the hero here. And so no, not the savior. Ken, yes, it's more like the Yoda character. It's more like the trusted advisor that helps. So Robin Hood, interesting. Robin Hood is the hero of that story. He has a sidekick there that helps him. I think it was John who drank the wine. So if you're the guide, the trusted guide, let's move now to who the villain of the story is. Type in the chat, who's the villain of your story? All right, type in the chat. And it's typically, right, type in the chat, who's the villain? Another question for you is, what is your marketing in love with now? And this is the telltale sign. If you haven't made this shift of making your customer the hero, you've fallen in love with what is your solution. And that's easy to tell. I can go to your website right now, mirror on the wall, and I can easily, and type in your website URL if you want. If you have time at the end, I'm happy to do a quick assessment of this, and I'll be able to tell right away by looking at it who or what it's in love with. So if you've made this shift, and it's hard to make, by the way, because a lot of CEOs say, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's make our customers the hero. Marketers say, yeah, I can do that. But the reality is nobody has any idea how to do that because they haven't really figured out how to flesh out the characters of the story. Like, who's the villain? Who's the sidekick? Where's the promised land that you're taking people to? So I can tell right away if the voice on your website is saying things like why we're the best and trying to convince people versus the voice on your marketing, your proposals, your LinkedIn post is how we make you better. That's the voice of the trusted guide. Because what you're really selling is transformation, helping people change from where they currently are to where they want to go. And your solution is just a dot along that spectrum, helping people get there. So it's a little bit humbling. I know that because we kind of want to be the heroes of our own story, but really you're the Rafiki. If you've seen The Lion King, you like type in Lion King in the chat. If you've seen The Lion King, you'll know that the hero Simba was led by Rafiki, who gave him the words of, like, remember who you are. But it's the other, like, everything you need to know about positioning you can learn from The Lion King. There was that promised land that fell out of imbalance. It was all messed up. That all those animals and elephants and aardvarks, and they were like cast out because the villain brought imbalance to nature. And the hero of the story had the power to make a choice, aided by champions. So I'm just using story archetypes here, but you really need to flesh out who the characters are of the story, because if you do that and train your GPTs and train your AIs on the character of the story, you'll get amazing content from that. So this, in the magnetic messaging framework, it has all those elements of the story that you need to pin down. So just as a reminder, if you want to book some time with me, I encourage you to do that. If you want help nailing your message, let's talk. No pressure, no pitch, just some clarity. This is what needs to get done. I want you guys to be successful. This is Patricia. She was doubled sales rate in 3 months after making these changes. And she actually posted this on LinkedIn. This is a LinkedIn post. And after she posted this with that clear lead a movement messaging, she emailed me back saying the first post on LinkedIn within minutes booked a COO of an ABA organization with 650 employees, which is a massive deal for them. Success. And I love seeing that. So this is the third shift, and we're at an hour. We're just going to go 5 more minutes, because the last 4 shifts, by the way, I'm going to run through real quick. If you want to go in them in more detail, we can do that on the one-on-one. So the third shift here, make your customer the hero. Does that make sense? Type in the chat, does that make sense? Yes or no? And anything you want me to clarify. And are you ready for shift number 4? We got Julie here. Welcome, Julie. Oh, love to have you here. All right. Ready for shift number 4. So we're going to go through this pretty fast, okay? Because I want to respect everyone's time. So this is the 4th shift you need to do, is name your category. This is a unique category. And just look at it in the market. There's been phones and mobile phones and smartphones. Who knows what's going to come in 2020? But if you think about it, it's typically a pre-word, a word before the existing category. So Apple, maybe it's a total failure with their headset, whatever. Guess what, people? It's coming. Eyeglasses in the future, and it's spatial computing. They've named the category. So that's what Apple did with this new product. It's an innovation. Take an existing market, existing category, and then put in on top of that category your unique word. So it's just one word. Like NVIDIA recently did this with what they're calling accelerated computing. It's a new category. It's not just computing, it's doing it a certain way. So your innovation that you're bringing to market does things in a unique way. So what is that? Let's put a word in front of it. So comfort ownership, this is vacation ownership, freight intelligence, adding intelligence to just freight forwarding. These are examples of adding a word in front of an existing category that you're in. So type in the chat, what existing category are you in, your industry? What is your industry that you're in? And let's experiment with what word you might put in front of it or after it that makes it unique. I love this quote from Warren Buffett. How do you beat Bobby Fischer? You play him at any game but chess. Love that. So these are just some examples. I'm breezing through this really fast here, but on my screen, you can see here how organizations have done this by adding a single word in front of an existing category. So it's not just data management, it's live data management, or it's not just data analytics, it's big data analytics. So it's simple to do it, but if you can do this, it really differentiates your business from any other in the whole universe. This is the dent that you'll make. So type in the chat, what is your unique category? So you put in your category here, your investment process made invisible. I don't know what that is, Ken. That's more like a description of what your product does, but a category. What is the category that you're in? So are you in shipping, logistics? Are you in telecommunications? Like, what is the category? And then the unique category is the word that you put before or after it, like Apple Intelligence. It's like Apple's approach to AI for the rest of us. This is a strategy for positioning that you need to do. All right. It's going to totally separate you from anybody else because you're describing the unique position that your solution offers people in the existing category. If this makes sense, type in makes sense in the chat. If not, type in the chat anything you want me to clarify. Let's jump into only cyber vendor to fixed price, no guesswork. So I'm still not sure what category that's in. Please be clear for me. All right, shift 5. This is the secret weapon. And this is the stuff that blows my mind every day and blows my mind at least 6 times on a Sunday as I go down the rabbit hole and go to sleep at 2 in the morning or pass out because I'm seeing the amazing collaboration that happens with AI. So this is the secret weapon. So I would say yes or no. Do you have a core messaging framework document that's answered all the questions of who you're serving, what problems that they have in their own words? What is your solution? What is your authority and credibility in the space that answers all these questions in words? Do you have that document? Yes or no? Type in the chat. It's most likely no, but this is an essential piece to the secret weapon. So prompts don't work. GPT, hey, GPT called. Sorry, 2015. Hey, GPT 2015 called. They want your lingo back. You know, that's what's happened. Type in the chat. Have you seen some of these words used in GPT, like pioneering, unlock, dive in, embark? This is the large language model being trained on a whole bunch of shitty content. And this is what we need to fix. GPT is like an apprentice marketer that has been trained on billions of marketing words from the 2010s, including Enron's annual report. And you all know what happened to Enron. So here's the secret weapon. Get AI to become your marketing expert in your brand voice. And this is exactly how to do it step by step. 1, engage an expert to facilitate interviews, validate findings with select customers, yes, an outsider, and define the most effective problem-first framework. 2, use the refined framework to train a custom GPT that generates 100% on-brand content for you and your team 24/7. And 3, transform your website, your presentations, your sales presentations, your PR, your emails, your RFPs, whatever, at 25x efficiency. And it's easy to say, like, easily reduce your time and money spent by half. But I see companies like 10x, 15x efficiency here on that third piece. And we call this a sales enablement ladder. So month 1, we get your messaging nailed. Month 2, we're essentially fixing your website and getting you the custom GPT. And month 3, we're basically spinning up from this content machine a bunch of sales generating assets, from webinars to lead magnets to email outreach, and helping your sales team conduct the most powerful sales conversations. But this is the secret sauce. Like, if you can answer all these questions, like, what's the name of the old way? What's the name of the new way? And how are we comparing the old versus the new? And how does your product confer advantage to organizations when they take the new approach? All of that has to be articulated in a document. And the document looks like this. It's like a 25-page, 30-page document. But guess what? AI loves data. It's been trained on words. So that's what we got to do. We got to train the base layer of AI, whether it's Gemini or Claude or Copilot, who cares? All these AIs are great, but if you can train it on your brand, on your data, then you're operating at the third level of using AI, and you're getting some amazing chats. And the results of those chats is you can basically copy and paste what comes out of that and go right to publishing. You don't have to edit anything. And if you haven't seen that quality of AI, then you're not using AI right. That's why I built PitchKitchen as an AI integrated sales and marketing agency, to make sure you're building AIs right, so you can create a torrent of content and produce it. And not only like words content, like I'm experimenting now with my team on creating podcasts. These are all the podcasts we've created, generated by an experiment with Google called Notebook LM. Type in the chat if you've experimented with Notebook LM. It creates podcasts with 2 voices, a male and female voice, using training data that we've created. Amazing stuff. So just imagine what's coming over the next year, 2 years. But this is the starting point. The secret weapon only works if you've trained it on your solution. So I had to use a meme here, and there you have it. So that's the 5th shift here. Engage an expert to facilitate interviews, validate the findings, even with customers and prospects, and define the most effective problem-first framework. Use that framework to train a custom GPT that you give freely out to your team, and then transform your website, presentations, emails, basically create an engine for content. So before Masood made these changes, frustrated with sales declining, 30 demos to one sale, that's gotta hurt, and anxious about limited financial runway. This is their before website. I don't even know what this meant. Kubernetes application resiliency starts here. If that isn't code words for whatever, I don't know what is. This is so much better because this is a highly technical sale, but still it's about intelligent recovery and backup. And that's what Trilio does. And it's very clear. It's intelligent, adding that intelligent word, by the way, because that's where a lot of businesses are headed. That's what they want. So afterwards, they tripled their at-bats, doubled their win rate in 2 months after this change, and really excited for them. So that was the 5 shifts. And this was my promise to you: how to nail your sales message, how to turn your homepage into a home run, why it's game over for most marketing playbooks, and how to attract ideal customers into buying conversations, and how to get that AI to be 100% on brand. So we covered that. That was what I promised. And these are the 5 things you need to do: lead a movement, fall in love with the problem, make your customers the hero, name your category, your unique category, which is essentially a prefix, and use the secret weapon to just explode that and create an AI machine that's trained on your solution. So I would say now you've got a choice. I get 3 doors. Door number 1, do nothing. Guys, you can do nothing. I'm going to just call it names here: Zach, Vladdy, Michael, Paul, Ken, Mark, Doug, Patrick. Thank you for staying so late. Door number 2, you can go it alone. And door number 3, get help. And so I'd encourage you to get help, to not just get this framework done, getting clear on your positioning, but also creating 100% on-brand content machine that you own. You own that machine. And I'm not selling software here. You basically own it by using whichever AIs you like, whether it's OpenAI or whether it's Gemini, whatever. I don't care. They're all pretty good. I'm like agnostic, but you got to get AIs to help you build your marketing. And we do this through a 3-month sprint. After 3 months, you're pretty much good to go. But we can help you after that if you need. And about the accountability guarantee, this is something that we're experimenting with. It's like a guarantee to double your win rate after we complete this, and half your copy costs, you're creating your marketing, half your marketing spend, and half the time your team spends on creating any kind of content. That's the guarantee. As long as we can benchmark this, and as long as we could run our full strategy, no edits. If you change it, we can't guarantee it. But if you want to agree to those terms of like letting us help you, then we can make those guarantees to you. So that's an exciting promise that I'm offering. And there's the QR code if you want to book some time. And if you click the offer button on the screen, you can do that. So now, if you book a call with us, we're going to have a discussion, no pitch, but we're going to get clarity on what needs to get done and how to do it. And I'm going to help give you a plan to get it done. All right. So now it's giveaway time. Yay, toys, giveaways. Let's give away here the magnetic messaging framework. So this is the link. I'm going to put it in the chat. This is on my screen here. You can see this is the magnetic messaging framework. And I'm going to put that in the chat. It's a PDF. And if you look at this, you'll be able to see, oh, does my website have an authority section? Does it have a problem section? Are we answering all the questions that are in people's minds when they get here? And are we telling the right transformation story? So in looking at this template, you need to use your imagination, but follow the color codes that'll really help you. All right, so number 2 is the 12 conversations. I'm going to put this in the chat as well, and then I'll get to your questions in the chat in a minute. In the chat, I just put the 12 sales conversations that open minds and close deals. So check these 12 out. Make sure your sales presentations are touching these bases. If they're not, you will likely lose a deal. And now this third giveaway here is the GPT. And the GPT is let's see if I can. Okay. This is the GPT that correlates your current website against the magnetic messaging framework and gives you some tips. And this last giveaway is the book. It is the Storycraft for Disruptors book. I don't have a copy here on my desk, but there's the digital copy. You can download it. And if I were you, I'd upload it into GPT and ask it questions, and it'll answer those questions as if you're talking to me through the book. That's a great, intelligent way to use GPT. All right, I know I'm passing. Absolutely, Sheila. Thank you. Thank you. I want to be generous here. I want you guys to be successful here. And on my screen, I'm sharing like the sales enablement ladder and the guarantee that we're doing. And I think some people in the chat put in your websites, and happy to do some website critique in this time, but we're like an hour and 15 minutes in this. So feel free to bow out or book some time with us. And for the remaining time, I'm going to click on Zach's website and see what we got here. Zach, if you're still here, first of all, is Zach here? Or should we talk stuff about him? No, he's here. What's going on, Zach? Let's go to your website. Oh my gosh. Freight services, warehouse services, our story, culture. So first blush, I would say this is a website designed from the year 2005. Forcing me when I get here to like click on something. And you don't want to have to do that. You want people to not have to click on anything, to go through a scroll experience like they do on TikTok or Facebook, and they just scroll. So don't make people click on anything. So also, I don't know who this is for. I don't know what problem you solve that's unique for your business versus anything. It's beautiful. Oh, I got a beautiful building, beautiful trucks. But how are you any different? So listen, if I were you, I'd follow the magnetic messaging framework, and that will help you out a whole lot. Let's go to Michael. If Michael's here, should we talk some? Oh, Michael is here. So we're gonna not talk shit behind his back. All right. We've got Dodeca, spreadsheet management system. All right. Automate and standardize corporate spreadsheet operations. So what's coming to mind here is, who is this for? Who is this for? Don't know. I would say, second question, what problem do you solve for me? This is all about goals, what I want to automate, what I want to plan, report, analyze. What problem am I experiencing that is me being your ideal customer that you are solving? I'm also missing from here, are you selling software? Probably. Are you selling services? Don't hit learn more. Learn more is so passive. Remember we talked about how you got to lead people, like get up on the dance floor. People, like, what do you want them to do? You don't want them to learn more. You want them to take action. So I like request a demo. So if I click request a demo here, oh no, you didn't. You didn't. I don't mean to slang on you, but you did. You actually forced people to fill out this form. So this is where 90% of deals go to die, filling out this form. So what do you need to do instead? Anyone? Bueller? You need to, when I click request a demo, I want there to be a Calendly or similar form. I click 2:00 Tuesday because I've committed to the time. I put in, once I click on the time, then I'm hit with the form of my name and my position and my company. But you can ask whatever questions you want. And that's where deals go to get closed. So please change that. If you change anything from here, make it more committed, like focused, and then take off the learn more. Also study the magnetic messaging framework, because you're missing about 4 other critical sections here that questions that people have in their minds. When people say automate and standardize, that's about the goal, but you're not telling me what I need to stop doing. And I'm tolerating a lot of bad stuff. And your customers you're selling today are dealing with problems that they are tolerating. You're not calling out what I'm tolerating here. So I hope this was helpful. Type in the chat. If I was too harsh on you, I'm so sorry. I am from New York. But if this was helpful, just type in the chat. Was that helpful? All right. All right. So Ken, that was, who was that? That was Michael. Was I too harsh on you there, Michael? So let's go to Paul or Patrick. Patrick in this time. Random access technology. Random access technology. Let's check you out. Oh my gosh. Hello, 2004. I'm out. I'm out just by seeing an image like this. This is lacks credibility. Just from a design perspective, I'm totally out. Not to mention, it doesn't answer 11 of the 12 questions on the magnetic messaging framework. What are you selling? Who are you selling it to? What problem you solve? So I'm out. Good luck with that. If you need help, book a time with us and we'll help you fix that. As a matter of fact, I think we may have talked to you guys a couple years ago. It doesn't look like much has changed. Anyway, I'm sorry for being harsh. I want you guys to be successful. We've got HR partners. This is from Sheila. Welcome, Sheila. Big hearts to Sheila. Overcoming technological problems every day of the week. Let us take it from here. HR partners. So there's something about this I like, that I get the sense that you're a service-oriented company. You're selling a service, okay? I don't like the learn more button. It should be like book a session. It should be specific, like book an assessment, like something really specific that it'll be valuable to me. I like these to be not called to action, CTAs. I call them CTVs, call to value. So learn more is passive. Make it a call to value. Like, what would I get if I book some time with HR partners? I get something of value. And they do. You know that your prospects, when they talk to you, they get something of value. But let's pin the tail on the donkey. What do they get that's super valuable? And that's just one thing here. So I like the login. It looks like you're selling some kind of software and it's a service. Ooh, I like that. So we believe in full service, not self-service. I do like that, but that's more of a subhead than a headline, because it's still not clear to me what you're selling. Who is this for? Like, I need to know what kind of organizations. Is this for Fortune 500 or small, medium-sized businesses? I don't know who this is for. If it's scheduled through a walk through our system, it shouldn't be learn more. It should be, book that Tuesday at 2:00. Don't go to FAQs. Absolutely not. Instead, have a chat bot where people can ask questions and interact and get people booking time with you. So you're missing about 9 out of 12 sections here on your website that's really going to help you convert and help you sell from all the hard work you're doing at conferences and talking to people. They hear about you, they come to your website, and they don't know exactly what you do. You want people showing up to that first conversation already predisposed to buy, because they get it. They get that you get their problems and get that you have a solution for them. All right, so Ken, I have to run. Gosh, I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. Sheila, awesome. Many hearts to you. I love you guys. I hope this was valuable. Book some time with me and us. We want to help you make the world a better place. That's why I'm in business. I've got 2 small kids. I want to make the world that we live in a better place. I believe we can do it with AI. I'm an optimist and I've seen it. And I want to spread that kind of message to you, using AI to power AI to help you be better, be faster, be more efficient, to help your customers be successful. With that, keep on rocking in the free world. I love you guys, and we'll speak soon. Cheers.